Greetings everyone, I hope you are fine, I hope you are doing well. I'm back again with another video. In this video, I just want to talk about the president of France. He uttered the following words: Africa is ungrateful, something like that. In other words, he was actually referring to West Africa, because right now as we speak, he can see that things are changing and they might find themselves in trouble. But I think these words should be vice versa, not the other way round. Why? Because France is ungrateful. I know that the colonialists are very cruel to the core, because there are many countries that only care about themselves. They don't care about other countries. They only want to dictate. They only want to control. So especially if a country is being led by a puppet, they become comfortable, they become happy, and they do as they please. But when it comes to France, France is not even pretending. France is not even pretending, because wherever you see France here in Africa, you will be welcomed by the poorest infrastructure ever. Right now, as we speak, Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso is like they are starting from the scratch. And again, most of West African countries is like right now, they are starting from the scratch. And what I like is that Ibrahim Traore, the leader of Mali and Niger, have set up a standard to say, you know what, if you want to serve your people, this is the way to go. If you want to prioritize your people, you have to preach what you practice, and again at the same time you have to practice what you preach. That is why right now many leaders of West Africa are under pressure because of these three countries and these three leaders. They are very under pressure. So that is why right now they have to try by all means to match the standard of Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali. These guys have already set up a standard which is very difficult to match, which is very difficult to comply to. But here is the thing. Here is the thing. The leader of France can see that there will be an influence from these countries. These three countries are already influencing West Africa, because in their minds, they had thought that these other countries like Nigeria and Ghana would influence many countries in West Africa. But right now, you can tell that they didn't expect this. They didn't see this coming. That Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso would influence most of West African countries, even many countries in Africa. Why? It's because these three countries are serious about serving their people. As I've said, that it should be vice versa. In other words, France should be grateful. Because you have to understand that these countries, whenever they colonize, whenever they are in power, whenever they are in control, they do not care about the infrastructure, about anything. So that is why right now, as we speak, those countries are still poor when it comes to infrastructure, even when it comes to everything. Just imagine, you are rich when it comes to minerals. You have uranium, you have gold, you have all these types of minerals. But other countries, they just come and take these minerals. They even determine the price. If I'm not mistaken, in Niger, France had even determined the price of uranium. Just imagine. And you have to note something, that at that time, Niger didn't have like electricity, or majority of the people in Niger didn't have electricity, but their uranium was being taken to France so that it can help France with power or with energy. Just imagine. So France is ungrateful, according to my perception, according to my analysis, because these countries, they only take. they don't bring anything to the table. Why? Because they even determine the price. Just imagine, let's say you have resources, you have everything, and then somebody comes to your house and determine the price of your products, the price of your minerals, the price of what you are producing. I understand sometimes there should be negotiations there and there, but these other countries like France, they don't even negotiate. They tell you that this is what we want. They take everything. They even bring their companies to Africa, to these countries, so that they can destroy, so that they can take everything. Then at the end of the day, these companies, they don't invest in Africa, they don't invest in those countries, but instead they invest in their own countries, or they invest in other countries, not in the continent of Africa. Then at the end of the day, when they start realizing that you've been playing with them all along, then you start saying they are ungrateful. In other words, if you realize that someone has realized, or that person is now aware that you've been manipulating them all along, you have to humble yourself, or keep quiet, or run away. You cannot call them ungrateful for realizing that you have been manipulating them all along. So in other words, France should be like for an example, grateful. France should be grateful to say, you know what, this is what we did to all these countries all these years, and they did not do anything to us. So in other words, they have to say, okay, if these people are chasing us out of their countries, so let's just pack our belongings and go. Instead of complaining, instead of talking, instead of saying all sorts of things, they just need to humble themselves. This is my perception, and what I like is that now, as we speak, there's pressure in West Africa, because we can see that the likes of Ibrahim Traore have achieved a lot since he took over. If I'm not mistaken, he has already achieved 80% of the things that he had promised the people of Burkina Faso. That is why I always say we should not compare the puppets with true leaders. So I believe that the president of France should humble himself. Maybe these people don't want apology, because we know sometimes when people apologize, they're just faking it, but they should just be grateful and keep quiet. I don't know what you think about the whole situation. I know we have different perceptions, because there are people who might say, the president of France makes sense. The president of France is right based on their perceptions. I just want to say, if you've watched this video to this level, thank you very much.